live. From Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us. We do begin tonight with our top story, and that is Salt Lake City Police releasing body camera video from 12 officers who responded to calls of a fugitive investigation turning home invasion.
Yes, the morning ending with their suspect in the hospital where he died just over a week later. Police saying that this started the morning of January 13th around 3 a.m. Officers with the city gang unit spotted a car with a fugitive wanted for felony possession of a deadly weapon. Police say 41-year-old Panisamani Halai was his passenger and refused to get out of the car, saying they drove off hitting two patrol cars, a truck, ran his passenger, stayed behind.
Fall toward me now! Come on. I didn't do anything. You took my car.
Police say they tased Halai while he ran, but he kept going, running up to a random home in the area and jumping through the window. Take a look at this.
Police, show me your hands! Fresh pursuit!
Ooh, an intense scene. That's when police fired the rounds that would eventually kill him. Police brought Halai to a hospital where he died January 21st. 4 officers on paid leave while the investigation continues. Police are not releasing any information about that passenger.
In Memphis, loved ones of Tyre Nichols are laying him to rest, the father of a young son, being remembered today for his love of skateboarding and photography. As Nichols' friends and family mourn, we're learning new details about several of the officers now facing second-degree murder charges in Nichols' death. ABC's Justin Finch with the latest.
For the family of Tyre Nichols, a day of emotional overload.
This family has endured the unsolicited, unwarranted, unreasonable, unjustifiable, and massive burden of grieving their loved one, and at the same time, fighting for justice.
As they bid final farewells to a beloved father, son, and brother.
Tyre was a beautiful person. And for this to happen to him is just unimaginable.
Vice President Kamala Harris seen hugging Nichols' mother before taking the stage, demanding Congress pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, which includes reforms supporters believe could have prevented what happened to Nichols.
Was he not also entitled to the right to be safe? So when we talk about public safety, let us understand what it means in its truest form. Tyre Nichols should have been safe.
Nichols' loss felt as Memphis police released the administrative HR files of 5 fired officers seen on video beating Nichols on January 7th.
Give us your hands!
4 of the 5 have records with suspensions or written reprimands, but none was previously found to have used excessive force. ABC News obtaining an initial incident report from Nichols' arrest and finding stark inconsistencies between it and footage from police body cams and a surveillance camera. And family members of other victims of police violence were also in attendance for today's service, including the mother of Breonna Taylor and the brother of George Floyd. Justin Finch, ABC News, Memphis.
Thank you, Justin. Well, shocking developments from a Leighton school. 4 administrators fired for serious financial misconduct. A statement released by the founder of Leighton Christian Academy, Reverend Mike D. Crowder, cited financial maleficence as a reason for immediately terminating Greg, Karen, Jared, and Lexi Miller, all in leadership positions, ranging from head of school to director of student life. Now, in the statement, Crowder stated he had no choice but to terminate, and they are saddened and heartbroken that such drastic actions were necessary. The letter also disclosed that the academy is unable to release additional details at this time.
Time now for a first look at the weather forecast. And sunny outside, but looks can be deceiving.
Yes, indeed. It is a touch warmer, though. We'll give you that. Nate Larson in for Alana Brophy.
Yeah, we have managed to climb a few degrees from yesterday, but we're still just below freezing. So we're still stuck in the icebox again today. The sun sure feels nice when it's out, but we're dealing with now with high pressure overhead, some of the inversion that's starting to build in the haze. You can see it very clearly from above the inversion layer. This is the Enzyme Peak camera on the north end of Salt Lake. And boy, you can really see some of the pollution starting to get trapped and build up across our valleys here along the Wasatch Front. So we are going to be dealing with moderate air quality for much of the region tomorrow. Areas today dealing with it. We have Uinta, we have portions of Duchesne, Carbon County still green, but we have Utah, Salt Lake and Davis counties, including Tooele, that are all moderate air quality today as well. Weber and Box Elder County are green. Cache Valley's been socked in. They've got the frigid cold air and the snow that's been on the ground, helping keep your temperatures very cold and unhealthy for sensitive groups as far as the air quality is concerned. Temperatures right now up in the Cache Valley area, just 10 degrees in Logan, so still stuck in the deep freezer there. 28 now in Salt Lake City. We did get closer to 32 today. We're 20 in Milford, Cedar City 30, 48 in St. George, 0 in Vernal. That's the cold spot in the state currently. They also have inversion in place. And we're expecting those 20s to kind of hang out throughout the rest of the evening with hazy conditions continuing. We should bottom out in the teens again tonight. Even warmer temperatures in store tomorrow. We've got a few storm systems that should warm us up before they arrive. I'll break down more of the details coming up in just a few, guys.
All right, we thank you, Nate. Well, right now we're in the middle of what Utah lawmakers are calling Water Week. ABC4 reporter Kate Garner reporting on Capitol Hill with why these few days on Utah's Capitol Hill could make the difference for Utah's lakes and bodies of water.
There are nearly a dozen bills in process right now that focus on water conservation. A $40 million trust that was approved last session is now up and running, and 6 of the 7 Colorado Basin states agree that we need to fix Glen Canyon Dam.
We're going to see a need to emphasize water issues in this state and throughout the West for years to come.
Steve Erickson with Great Basin Water Network shares the same message being emphasized by Utah Water Week. Utah needs to protect its most precious resource.
There's some good bills and there's some bad bills.
Zachary Frankel says the Utah Rivers Council is glad to see water conservation at the heart of the political discussion and nearly 12 proposed bills. One sets specific goals to increase water levels at Great Salt Lake. Another focuses on the use and refilling of groundwater sources.
It's intended to help enhance or retain water flows for Great Salt Lake.
Marcel Shoup explains the $40 million Great Salt Lake Watershed Enhancement Trust was approved during last year's legislative session. And now it's taking shape and will soon use the money to buy up water that's not being used and send it to the Great Salt Lake.
Water that could benefit Great Salt Lake, both in quantity and water quality.
And while not a bill, 6 of the 7 Colorado River Basin states came together to outline a plan to save water from the Colorado River. But some say that plan isn't concrete enough.
What we really need is a construction solution and funding from Congress to fix Glen Canyon Dam so that it can continue delivering water downstream, or else all 4 Upper Basin states will violate the Colorado River Compact over time.
The Colorado River Compact is a 100-year-old agreement between 7 states and Mexico to share water. Zachary Frankel says that Utah is one of the 4 Upper Basin states that would violate that agreement if Glen Canyon Dam isn't fixed. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Kate Garner, ABC4 News.
It's good for Utah. Elementary students starting their civic duty early, working to push a proposed bill through the legislature that they helped create.
Yes, these 6th graders want brine shrimp to become Utah's official state crustacean. This started in a petition, and now the move to make brine shrimp a state symbol is being considered by the legislature. Good for them. Okay, well, brine shrimp are the largest animal in the Great Salt Lake, growing to just over 1 centimeter, and they add huge value to the ecosystem and the economy. Just like the brine shrimp, the students gearing up to present to Utah lawmakers are small but mighty.
The kids are really prepared to go up there. We're going to go as a whole class. There'll be most of them in the audience, and then we'll have 3 kids presenting the speech.
Okay, Mr. Craner says they have not yet set a date for the students to tell lawmakers why this bill is good for Utah just yet, but if passed, House Bill 137 would add the aquatic creature to Utah's long list of state symbols.
In a traffic alert, the elk in Salt Lake City were back this morning and causing traffic troubles once again. A herd of elk crossing I-80 this morning near the mouth of Parley's. 2 elk unfortunately hit and killed. 2 others injured, had to be euthanized. UDOT stopped traffic to help the elk safely cross the area, but the herd split and traffic control couldn't help them all cross. Utah DWR asking people to avoid that area if possible, but if it's not able to, make sure to drive slowly and watch out for the animals.
We want to thank the public for their cooperation on slowing down in this area and being patient at this time. And hopefully we can get those elk up the mountain safely.
DWR hoping warmer temperatures hit the state soon and melt some of the snow so the elk can go back up into the mountains. The elk that died were donated to a game meat donation program.
All right, and Sandy City donates Jaws of Life to a community in central Mexico. Happening today, the Sandy City mayor and fire chief presented surplus extrication equipment to representatives of the city of Zacatecas, a community in desperate need of emergency gear. Now, after the fire department received funding from the Sandy City Council for new battery-operated extrication equipment, the department was able to free up these important life-saving resources.
It's an exchange of friendship, a gift of friendship, a cultural exchange, and also life-saving resource.
The Federation of Mexicans United in Utah facilitating that donation. The Federation has facilitated donations of ambulances and more life-saving equipment from Utah. In fact, 2 cities in Mexico are now using the old firefighter turnout uniforms that still bear the Sandy City logo.
In my mind, I used to be a child of poverty, not knowing that hopes and dreams can become reality.
Still ahead, we are kicking off Black History Month with a young poet making history of his very own. Hear the honor bestowed on this 9-year-old from Harlem.
All right, plus we're tracking haze and inversions that are setting up behind our active weekend. How long is this haze and bad air quality going to stick around? Details on that forecast coming up after the break.